from Liberia and the rest of the world. Today is Friday, the 13th of February 2026. I'm Barclay Kamara presenting. In the headlines, President Joseph Boakai to address 39th African Union Summit in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Supreme Court of Liberia sentences Justin Opa Yezen, also known as Prophet Key, to 6 months in prison. Government secures funding from 4 major multilateral institutions for the Saraye Koma Road in Lopa County. And away from Liberia, a French national went missing for 4 days on dead by the army in Northeast Chad. These and many more stories, including sports, the weather report, the news in simple English and French, are coming up. First, Grace Tower and the news bulletin.
President Joseph Boakai will on tomorrow address the African Union Summit in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. President Boakai's address will center on pertinent regional and global issues. The president will call for stronger collaboration and inter-regional coordination in addressing rising geopolitics, extremism, and transnational crimes. According to a dispatch, the Liberian leader is expected to support the elevation of Africa's position from a non-permanent member to a permanent one on the UN Security Council. President Joseph Boakai is expected to update AU on the gains his government is making to improve citizens' access to quality healthcare, education, sanitation, and electricity, among others. President Boakai, during the 2-day annual event, is also expected to hold strategic bilateral engagements with investors and his counterparts for investment and partnership purposes. Meanwhile, the managing director of the Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation is expected to make a case for Liberia today in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Mohamed Ali will unveil to investors and African leaders Liberia's long and short-term sanitation plans and provide a clear roadmap for the sector. The disclosure was made Friday by the Deputy Minister for State for Public Affairs, Anthony Kessley, on the Super Morning Show. Minister Kessley described the planned deliberations by the LWSC MD as crucial to revamping the sanitation sector while attracting investment opportunities for Liberia. According to him, the sanitation sector remains a key component of the arrest agenda for inclusive development. MD Ali's planned deliberations are part of a series of sideline events ahead of the start of the 39th Ordinary Session of the African Union's Head of State and Government Summit. President Joseph Boakai has issued Executive Order Number 158, establishing the Liberia Corporation for Strategic Investment as a special presidential project. The LCSI was established to drive the implementation of a government strategic partnership agreement with Afroland First Holding. The executive order gave full effect to the government's commitment to sustainable economic transformation, enhanced resource mobilization, and inclusive national development. A statement from the executive mansion says the LCSI is conceived as a joint venture vehicle that will serve as the principal instrument for implementing strategic national development initiatives under the partnership agreement. Under the agreed ownership structure, the government of Liberia will hold 80% ownership in the LCI. Of this share, 60% of the government's equity shall be equally distributed among Liberia's 15 counties at 4% per county, while the remaining 20% shall be retained by the central government. The release added that Afroland First Holding will hold 20% ownership with a minimum of 10% of its shares to be opened for public and industry participation, including commercial banks, insurance companies, government entities, and other qualified institutions. Meanwhile, the Minister of State with a portfolio has been directed to coordinate the immediate establishment and operationalization of the LCSI. Minister Mama Kability has also been mandated to initiate pilot projects in rural development, agriculture, and infrastructure rehabilitation within 12 months. Minister Ability will collaborate with relevant ministries to complete all legal and administrative requirements for legislative ratification and institutionalization and submit quarterly progress reports to the Office of the President. Executive Order number 158 is issued pursuant to Article 50 of the Liberian Constitution, which vests executive authority in the President to ensure the faithful execution of laws, programs, and policies in the national interest. According to an executive mansion release, the order shall remain in force for a period of 1 year, during which the government will pursue legislative ratification and transition the LCSI into a permanent statutory entity. The LCSI's mandate is anchored on mobilizing domestic and international financial and technical resources for strategic development projects. Vocal social media podcaster Justin Opayezen, also known as Prophet Key, has been sentenced to 6 months in prison. Prophet Key was sentenced on Friday by the Supreme Court of Liberia. While in prison at the Monrovia Central Prison, Mr. Yezen will write a letter of apology in 3 local dailies for 5 executive days. He will also write a behavior bond in which he will promise never to insult any woman or go against any woman in Liberia. According to our judicial reporter, his jail term is definite with the order taking immediate effect. Government says it is actively mobilizing finances to pave the road from Salaye to Medicoma in Lopa County. According to the government, the Kuwaiti Fund, Badia, Saudi Fund, and OPEC have all committed finances for the project. Finance and Development Planning Minister Augustine Gapuan made the disclosure Friday at a news conference in Monrovia.
Financing will mobilize from Badia and the Kuwaiti Fund, and a lot of finance here will conclude with the OPEC Fund for International Development. OPEC. So we have enough money to be able to plan our streets.
Minister Gapuan said Badia, the Kuwaiti Fund, and OPEC have committed to providing the finances for the road from Salaye to Konya. According to him, Saudi Funds for Development also agreed to provide financing for the road from Konya to Yela at the Guinea border. Finance Minister Augustine Gapuan has reaffirmed Liberia's readiness to meet ECOWAS convergence criteria ahead of the planned launch of the region's single currency, the ECO, in July 2027. Minister Gapuan told delegates at the 55th End-Year Convergence Council meeting that the country has made substantial progress across all 6 indicators, including inflation control, fiscal deficit management, and debt sustainability. According to him, Liberia's economy grew by 5.1% in 2025, with projections of 5.4% growth in 2026. The finance minister stated that 4 ECOWAS member states are projected to meet the 4 primary criteria by 2025, up from 2 in 2024. Minister Augustine Gapuan said Cote d'Ivoire, Benin, and Togo are expected to achieve full compliance with all 6 criteria, marking significant progress towards monetary union. The finance minister warned that challenges remain, particularly in inflation in some member states. World Bank 2026 Economic Prospects Report says Liberia gross domestic product has grown by 5.4%. According to the report, Liberia is currently among countries with emerging markets and developing economies. The report captured global trade, commodity markets, global inflation, financial developments, and advanced economies, among others. It noted that the global economy has also shown notable resilience in heightening trade tensions and policy with support from countries that are captured in the report. The rapid growth of Liberia's gross domestic product, according to the report, demonstrates government determination to improve microeconomy. The Economic Community of West African States (ECOWAS) Commission has released its 2024 report on the progress of the postal sector. The report highlights the vital role of the region's postal network in supporting infrastructure development and economic integration. The report was launched during the sixth meeting of the West African Postal Conference (WAPCO) Council of Administration held in Banjul, the Gambia. According to the findings, West Africa currently hosts 2,809 permanent post offices, with 972 of those now electronically connected, a key indicator of the sector's ongoing digital transformation. The report also points to sustained growth in parcel and express mail services, driven largely by the expansion of regional trade and the increasing adoption of e-commerce. Despite these gains, the report acknowledges persistent structural challenges, including low post office density in rural and underserved areas, as well as disparities in digital connectivity among member states. The National Commission on Higher Education is expected to embark on a nationwide assessment of all accredited tertiary institutions. According to the Commission, the exercise is aimed at strengthening quality assurance mechanisms, improving service delivery, and ensuring compliance within Liberia's higher education sector. The Commission's Executive Director, Dr. Cecilia Cassell, said the nationwide assessment will also deepen public understanding about the Commission's mandate. Dr. Cassell reaffirmed her commitment to transparency, accountability, and institutional integrity. According to her, plans are underway to introduce a structured training and certification programs for lecturers at universities and colleges who do not possess formal educational training. She emphasized that effective teaching requires more than subject matter expertise, noting that many lecturers lack essential competencies such as developing course syllabi and formulating clear instructional objectives, among others. Meanwhile, the NCHE Executive Director stressed the importance of considering diverse assessment techniques and aligning assessments with established instructional objectives. The African Group at the United Nations, also known as the A3, has called for the redefining of Africa's role in global decision making. The group's statement was read by Liberia's Foreign Minister Sarah Besloyanti Friday at the sixth ministerial meeting of the African members of the UN Security Council in the Ethiopian capital. Minister Yanti reminded the gathering that Africa must not be treated as just an agenda item at the UNSC, but rather a force that should influence and shape the Security Council and the future of the United Nations. According to a dispatch from Addis Ababa, her words captured the urgency of Africa's demand for meaningful representation and agency. The dispatch added that the group's statement signals a decisive shift from the continent's historical position at the margins towards a central role in shaping international policy and the future of multilateralism. And the Office for the Establishment of One Economic Crimes Court has concluded a two-day dialogue with Liberia's Council of Chiefs and Elders on two draft bills in Bangabong County. The event focused on the draft bills for the establishment of the One Economic Crimes Court and the creation of a national anti-corruption court. According to our correspondent, the dialogue aimed at fostering inclusive national engagement and ensuring traditional leaders play a central role in shaping Liberia's path towards justice, accountability, transparency, and reconciliation. Our correspondent quotes the chiefs as saying the establishment of both courts will help bring justice to victims of the civil wars. Over 100 chiefs and elders representing the 15 counties participated in dialogue to strengthen collaboration between state institutions, civil society, and traditional authorities in advancing justice and anti-corruption reforms.
Chris Tao there with the news bulletin. You're listening to Newsline on ELBC Radio. One of the big stories we're following this afternoon, Supreme Court of Liberia sentences Justin Obayeze, also known as Prophet Key, to 6 months in prison. Well, African leaders are once again deliberating on pressing issues confronting the continent at the 39th Ordinary Session of the African Union Heads of States and Governments Summit in Ethiopia. As the start of the two-day annual gathering Saturday, President Joseph Boakai is expected to call for a coordinated but robust approach in tackling regional and continental challenges. Also, government through the Liberia Water and Seaward Corporation is expected to make a case for the country later today. On the sideline or on the line from Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, Deputy Minister of State for Presidential or Public Affairs, Anthony Cassidy, fills Hassan Kewin with the details of the planned LWSC's event.